Most people grab a carton of pineapple juice from the store without giving it a second thought. But the journey from spiky tropical fruit to that sweet golden liquid in your glass is absolutely fascinating. When you bite into a fresh pineapple, you're tasting something that took nearly 2 years to grow. And the process of turning it into juice involves some seriously impressive industrial machinery and surprising techniques. The pineapple juice industry is massive, producing millions of gallons every year. And it all starts in vast plantations across tropical regions of the world. These aren't just random farms with a few plants scattered around. We're talking about enormous operations with thousands upon thousands of pineapple plants arranged in perfect rows, stretching as far as the eye can see. The scale is mind-blowing when you first witness it. Workers navigate these fields with incredible efficiency, knowing exactly which fruits are ready for harvest based on subtle color changes and other indicators that most of us would never notice. The timing has to be absolutely perfect because pineapples don't continue ripening after they're picked, unlike bananas or avocados. Pick them too early and the juice will be disappointingly tart and acidic. Wait too long and they'll start fermenting right there on the plant, making them useless for juice production. This precision requires experienced eyes and years of knowledge passed down through generations of farmers. The tropical climate where pineapples thrive brings its own challenges too, with intense heat, heavy rainfall, and the constant threat of pests and diseases that could wipe out entire crops if not carefully managed. Chapter 2. The harvesting process itself is backbreaking work that deserves way more recognition than it gets. Workers move through the fields with specialized knives, cutting the pineapples from their stalks with practiced movements that look effortless, but require significant strength and stamina. Each pineapple weighs several pounds, and a single worker might harvest hundreds or even thousands in a single day. The cut has to be clean and precise, leaving just enough stem attached without damaging the fruit itself. These harvested pineapples are immediately loaded into large bins or onto conveyor systems that transport them from the fields. Speed is essential here because once cut, the clock is ticking on freshness. The fruits need to reach the processing facility as quickly as possible to maintain optimal quality and flavor. In modern operations, you'll see tractors pulling massive trailers filled with pineapples, creating an impressive sight as they rumble down plantation roads. Some facilities are located right on the plantation grounds to minimize transport time, while others receive shipments from multiple farms in the region. Upon arrival at the processing plant, the pineapples undergo their first inspection. Workers and automated systems check for obvious defects, removing any fruits that are damaged, diseased, or not quite ripe enough. This quality control step is crucial because even a few bad pineapples could affect the taste of thousands of gallons of juice. The accepted fruits then move onto massive conveyor belts that carry them into the heart of the facility where the real transformation begins. Chapter 3. Before anything else happens, those pineapples need a serious bath. The washing station is an impressive setup with powerful water jets, rotating brushes, and sometimes even food-safe sanitizing solutions that remove dirt, pesticides, and any other contaminants clinging to the tough outer skin. The pineapples tumble and roll through these washing systems, getting scrubbed from every angle. You might think the tough, spiky exterior would protect the fruit inside, but any contamination on the outside could potentially transfer during cutting, so this step is absolutely vital for food safety. The amount of water used in this process is staggering, with thousands of gallons circulating through the system every hour. Modern facilities recycle and filter much of this water to reduce waste, but it's still one of the most resource-intensive parts of the operation. After washing, the pineapples go through a drying phase where excess water is blown or shaken off. Wet pineapples are difficult to handle and can cause machinery to slip or malfunction, so they need to be reasonably dry before moving to the next stage. The crown, that leafy top part that makes pineapples so recognizable, gets removed at this point by automated cutting systems or manual workers depending on the facility's level of automation. These crowns aren't just tossed away though. In many operations, they're collected for composting or even used to start new pineapple plants, since pineapples can be propagated from their crowns. It's a beautiful example of reducing waste and creating a more sustainable production cycle. Chapter 4. Now comes one of the most satisfying parts of the entire process: removing that tough, spiky outer skin. Industrial peeling machines are engineering marvels that can strip a pineapple in seconds with minimal waste. These machines use various techniques, including rotating blades that follow the contour of the fruit or abrasive rollers that essentially sand away the skin. The goal is to remove all the tough exterior and those little brown eyes that dot the surface of a pineapple while preserving as much of the precious flesh as possible. Every bit of fruit left behind on the skin represents lost juice and lost profit, so these machines are calibrated with incredible precision. Some facilities still use manual peeling for higher-end products where appearance matters, but for juice production, automated systems dominate. The peeled pineapples emerge looking almost unrecognizable, transformed from spiky tropical fruits into smooth yellow cylinders. But the process isn't over yet because there's still more to remove. The core of a pineapple, that harder central section, is too fibrous for most juice applications and needs to come out. Coring machines punch through the center of each fruit, extracting this tough material in one swift motion. Again, precision is key because removing too much means wasted fruit, while leaving too much core can result in a less pleasant texture in the final product. All these removed materials, the skin, crowns, and cores, create massive amounts of byproduct that responsible facilities find uses for. Chapter 5. With the pineapples now peeled and cored, they're ready for the actual juice extraction, and this is where things get really interesting. The prepared fruit flesh gets fed into industrial crushers and shredders that break it down into a pulpy mixture. These aren't gentle machines. They use powerful motors and sharp blades to pulverize the pineapple flesh into increasingly smaller pieces, maximizing the surface area from which juice can be extracted. The noise in this part of the facility is incredible, a constant roar of machinery turning solid fruit into mush. From the crushers, this pulpy mixture moves into pressing systems, and there are several different types used across the industry. Hydraulic presses apply enormous pressure to squeeze every possible drop of juice from the pulp. Some facilities use screw presses that work continuously, pushing the mixture through progressively tighter spaces. Others employ centrifugal systems that use spinning force to separate the liquid from the solid matter. The amount of pressure applied is carefully calculated because too little means you're leaving valuable juice behind in the pulp, while too much can actually extract bitter compounds and oils from the cell walls that negatively affect flavor. The juice that flows out at this stage is cloudy, thick, and absolutely packed with pulp particles, nothing like the clear or slightly cloudy product you see in stores. This raw juice also contains enzymes that are still active and will continue breaking down the fruit structure, potentially creating off flavors if not dealt with quickly. Chapter 6. The freshly extracted juice now enters a series of filtration and clarification processes that transform it from a thick, pulpy liquid into something more recognizable. Multiple filtration stages using screens of progressively finer mesh catch larger pulp particles first, then smaller and smaller fragments. Some facilities use centrifuges that spin the juice at incredibly high speeds, using centrifugal force to separate particles of different densities. The heavier pulp gets pushed to the outside while the clearer juice remains in the center. Other operations use natural settling processes where the juice sits in large tanks and gravity does the work, though this takes much longer. The level of clarification depends entirely on what type of product is being made. Some consumers prefer pulpy juice with lots of texture and body, believing it's more natural and closer to fresh fruit. Others want crystal clear juice that's smooth and consistent every time. Manufacturers can control this by stopping the filtration process at different points. There are also enzymatic treatments that can be applied, where specific enzymes are added to break down pectin and other compounds that cause cloudiness. These enzymes are natural, often derived from fungi or bacteria, and they work by targeting specific molecular bonds. After a set period, the enzymes are deactivated by heat, and the juice becomes much easier to filter to perfect clarity. Throughout all these processes, the juice is kept cool to slow down microbial growth and preserve flavor. Chapter 7. Here's where things get scientifically fascinating. Pasteurization. Raw pineapple juice contains natural yeasts, bacteria, and those enzymes we mentioned earlier, all of which will eventually spoil the juice if left unchecked. Pasteurization uses heat to eliminate these microorganisms while trying to preserve as much flavor, color, and nutritional value as possible. It's a delicate balancing act because too little heat means some organisms survive and your juice will spoil quickly, while too much heat can cook the juice, creating caramelized flavors and destroying heat-sensitive vitamins like vitamin C. The most common method is called high-temperature short-time pasteurization, where the juice is rapidly heated to around 185 to 205 degrees Fahrenheit for just 15 to 30 seconds before being quickly cooled again. This happens in special heat exchangers where the juice flows through thin channels surrounded by hot water or steam, then immediately through cooling channels. The speed is crucial because it minimizes heat damage while still achieving sterilization. Some premium brands use flash pasteurization at even higher temperatures for even shorter times, sometimes just a few seconds. There's also cold pasteurization using high pressure instead of heat, but this is less common due to equipment costs. After pasteurization, the juice is essentially sterile and shelf-stable, but there's still more to consider. The heating process can drive off some of the volatile aromatic compounds that give pineapple juice its distinctive tropical smell and taste. These compounds are incredibly delicate and can evaporate at relatively low temperatures. Chapter 8. To address the loss of aromatic compounds during pasteurization, many manufacturers use a clever technique called essence recovery. Before the juice gets heated, a portion is diverted through a special evaporation system under vacuum conditions. This low-pressure environment allows the aromatic compounds to evaporate at much lower temperatures than they normally would, preserving their delicate structure. These captured essences are condensed and carefully stored, essentially creating a concentrated flavor extract of the most volatile and fragrant components of fresh pineapple juice. After after pasteurization, when the main batch of juice has been sterilized and cooled, these essences are added back in. This restores much of the bright, fresh flavor that was lost during heating, making the final product taste remarkably close to fresh pressed juice despite having been thoroughly heat-treated. It's a bit like capturing the soul of the juice before processing, then reuniting them afterward. Not all manufacturers use this technique since it requires additional equipment and expertise, but it makes a noticeable difference in quality. Another consideration at this stage is whether to produce juice from concentrate or not from concentrate. For not from concentrate juice, the process continues directly to packaging after pasteurization and essence addition. But much of the world's pineapple juice is actually made from concentrate, which involves an additional step. The pasteurized juice is fed into massive evaporators, where water is carefully removed under controlled temperature and pressure conditions, turning the juice into a thick, syrupy concentrate that's typically about 5 or 6 times more concentrated than the original juice. Chapter 9. Creating and using concentrate might seem like an unnecessary complication, but it makes tremendous economic and practical sense for the global juice industry. Concentrated juice is much lighter and takes up far less space than regular juice, which means massive savings on shipping costs when moving product from tropical growing regions to markets all over the world. Instead of shipping water halfway across the planet, you're shipping pure concentrated flavor that will have water added back later. The concentrate is typically frozen for storage and transport, which preserves quality without requiring refrigeration during shipping. When it's time to make juice from this concentrate, the process is carefully controlled. The concentrate is thawed, then blended with filtered water in precise ratios to return it to its original juice strength. Remember those captured essences from earlier? They get added back now too, along with any other adjustments needed to ensure consistent flavor. Quality control at this stage is intense, with trained tasters and laboratory analysis ensuring every batch meets exact specifications for sugar content, acidity, color, and flavor profile. Pineapples are natural products, which means every harvest can be slightly different depending on weather conditions, soil quality, and countless other variables. To ensure consumers get the exact same taste every time they buy a particular brand, manufacturers often blend juices or concentrates